Hi, Gemini. This is your December astrology reading for all Gemini signs, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. And I try to make sure, in case you're new to the channel, that I always state if you're coming in as, Venus and Gemini, that this is not going to be a love reading. A lot of people see Venus as love, and I absolutely do not. I see Venus as sensitivity, whether it's positive or negative, your sensitivity emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically, and where that takes you in the houses, whether it's positive or negative. So we're looking at it from that point of view when I'm doing it Venus reading. But it's very similar also if you're coming in as a Gemini moon, because the moon is your unconscious becoming conscious. It's your subconscious depths that does deal with your emotional levels of life. But they are definitely still different. When I do astrology, I'm just trying to make sure that I help you to understand, so you're finding the right ones to listen to. You can always do Sun, Moon, Rising, and then follow them all individually. And the reason why I say that is Spirit reminds me that, in all honesty, every single human being on this planet technically has 5 charts going at once. And most astrologers and most people don't get in that deep or understand it that deep. But what it is you truthfully have your core, which is your sun sign. Then you have your ascending sign. And they can both be considered, from the 1st through the 12th house, starting with that sign. But then you have the moon. Then you have, Venus is the way I read it. But technically the 5 charts, the Spirit communicates it to me, is you have your sun chart, you have your rising chart, you have your moon chart, then you have the universal chart, and then you have the transiting chart. So technically there's always 5 that are moving in cycle at one time. But with that being said, that might help you to understand, if you go back and you look at Sun, Moon, Rising, what we're really covering. Now, with that being said, this is for all Gemini signs. And Spirit says right off the bat, there is some self-realization and taking responsibility for that self-realization going on. There is understanding there's some unconscious depths that are being brought to the surface. So the unconscious is becoming conscious. And it is in ways of self-deception that you've brought to yourself in the past. But this is about you learning on a new level what your personal interests are and your creativity and how you bring that up and out of you. Is there anything else? This is also speaking to your communication of your own intellect and details, with that very understanding of where that inner emotional security of true self brings you, with that creativity and your self-expression. You're learning how to be you on a new level. And I don't mean that you don't know how to be you. You're learning how to go deeper and understand a deeper level of your own truths, of expressing who and what you are and what you honestly feel about life, and how to message that out into the real world, by understanding where expressing yourself brings you into new liberty, by connecting with your ambitions and your higher education, your higher mind, that higher soulfulness, that soul self consciousness, and what that brings to the responsibilities. And you are being told to take action in that energy. But it's up to you to will it to come into fruition. They're asking you to take action in your passion, passion in your passion, action, aggression, and inner fire of that inner creativity and inner self-expression. And for some of you, this is finding a new way of really communicating romance and how you enjoy that. That's not a bad thing at all. But this is definitely heart chakra, learning how to really unclog, unblock some heart chakra energies. And the communication of what you truly desire by getting over some of your inner self-deception, grief, sorrow, shame, and blame, and judgment, self-judgment. Anything else? It's going back to overcoming some of your own self-deceptions and taking responsibility for it as you come into new levels of that unconsciousness becoming conscious. Learning how to heal, like I said, some of that grief, sorrow, shame, and blame. That's like that inner 12th house. Our skeletons in the closet where we've allowed our mixed messages from our inner demons to tell us that we weren't worthy. This is learning how to trust fate, not... We're seeing a lot of people trying to overcome their inflexibility of, this is the way life has been, this is what I know, this is what I know, what I accept, what I'm ready to work with, this is how life is. And that's been like a tainted idea of what life can be because we've experienced it from a lower vibrational energy. And this is having faith and allowing fate to come forward by taking chances and trusting in the self, the higher self. Gambling on the self is what I'm being given. Healing from those past experiences and let those past foundations teach you where you haven't necessarily been successful because of that same old routine. It's about breaking the chain right now in many ways. Now, as I start the astrology, because they say for you all across the board, just back and forth, this has to do with your solar plexus. This actually has a lot to do with all of your chakras, but mainly I feel like it's your sacral chakra, your solar plexus, your heart chakra, and how you communicate with yourself about these things so that you can come into that I am magic and be able to believe it by having confidence in yourself and then making the changes to believe in yourself because of that confidence and create positive energy. Are we done? They say, and then it will help you illuminate your actual communication and possibly your delivery of that communication outwardly as well. But this is definitely all about a self-realization and learning how to trust your spiritual urges. Okay. Are we okay? Okay. Now, I want to back up for just a second before I get into the astrology. I want to remind us that as you're coming into December, at the end of December, you had Venus that just moved into Capricorn on the 25th. You had the new moon that took place in Sagittarius, but it came off of a void, of course, of Scorpio on the 26th, which means an end of something and a beginning with a higher spiritual soulfulness. And then it's a higher spiritual soulfulness in depth. Okay, and then we're taking Neptune, just went direct, but Neptune isn't exactly strong right now. It's kind of still. And it's going to kind of still be still, even though it's coming out of that shadow period as it goes direct until about the 20th, where it starts to finally build up some energy and some speed. No, until about like the 12th of January. So it's kind of it's in a void. It's in a dark spot. It's not movement. And Neptune is magic. It is where deception and illusion come together, where illusion and delusion come together. It is where magic smacks you in the face with harsh reality. So it's nostalgia versus now, and are you lost in between? But as we move into this month itself, December moves into on December 2nd, Jupiter moves into Capricorn. Let me just say, Capricorn is bases loaded, but wherever the sun is kind of usually the house that we are traveling through. For the most part, our emotional depths may be in different areas, but for the most part, the sun is usually where we are traveling through, whatever house that is for us at the time. Now, December 2nd, Jupiter moves into Capricorn. You have Venus there, you have Ceres there, you have Jupiter there, you have Pluto there, and you have Saturn there. That's major power going on, okay? On the 9th, you have Mercury, which is actually moving into Sagittarius, where I said most of us are actually traveling through. Now, on December 12th, you have the full moon in Cancer. But I am being told energies of Gemini and Taurus is coming in with that full moon. On the 20th, Venus actually moves out of Capricorn and moves into Aquarius. On the 21st, the sun comes out of Sagittarius and it goes into Capricorn, making Capricorn even stronger, even though Venus just left. Then you have the new moon with the solar eclipse taking place on the 26th in Capricorn. And then Mercury leaves Sagittarius on the 28th, and it moves into Capricorn as well. So we're definitely having no choice but to seriously focus on Sagittarius and Capricorn and where that is within the houses. Now, that's your, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's your 7th and 8th house. So everything for you right now is dealing with your relationship zone. And any and everything you care about, you have a relationship with. I want to make sure I make that very clear. We always think of our relationships as, the people in our lives. And that is true. But our relationships are anything we care about. Is our relationships with our money. When you have no money, you know all about your relationship with that lack of money. When you have no vehicle for transportation, you know all about your lack of transportation and that relationship you have with it. So when we look at it from this way, we're looking at the relationships we have with the human beings in our life as well. Our children, our siblings, our friends, our lovers, our parents, our working environment. You even have a relationship with your open enemies, such as divorces, ex-wives, ex-husbands. They're still part of your life. So any kind of relationship you have, this is going to be speaking to you of the importance of it. For the most part of this month, you're going to be acknowledging that and the open communication that you have in here, because the relationships are being illuminated by the sun. But you also have Pallas here, which is Athena, the warrior goddess, strategically thinking about the relationships and if they're healthy or not. Are they being illuminated to you in ways that are showing you that they're healthy relationships, or ways that they are showing that they are not healthy, they are not nurturing. In fact, they're neglecting. And it's not supportive. So you're acknowledging these people, places, things that you have relationships with, and are they healthy for you? The illumination is being brought forward. The communication is being brought forward to open up and see things from a higher aspect and truly understand what is really going on within these relationships. And for some of you, I was just told this is spouse and money. Being honest, blunt, and upfront. Because you're also looking at it going into Capricorn. And this is about that Capricorn energy, rules, walls, and boundaries, setting new examples by releasing what's no longer working and finding new ways to do it that's soulfully resonate with the relationship and if that relationship is healthy. Venus is in this relationship zone as well, especially in the rules of these relationships. Every relationship you have has a rule to it. For spouses, for one, part of that rule is paying the bills. Like I said, spouses' money. And then part of that relationship typically could be sex. Every relationship has a responsibility to it. It's a working environment. Part of the job is you must show up for work and do the job if you wish to get paid. I mean, this is knowing, and the reason I keep getting choked up is this is about knowing when to speak and when to listen. Right now, because you need to know when to speak and when to listen so that you can collect your intel correctly for the information about what it is you do need to speak. So don't be so quick to jump the gun, because the spirit is choking me up. They're telling me to shut up and listen. Or at least they're telling me to tell you to shut up and listen. In some cases, it's completely about understanding what others are saying to you, and if that works with your true self-realization of who and what you stand for. And are the rules in these relationships fair, just, balanced? Because like I said, you have Sirius and the threefold theory moving into the relationship's rules. Okay, you have Sirius and the threefold theory moving into Sirius's rules. You have Jupiter moving in, bringing abundance to the relationship. And if the rules are fair, if they're just and balanced and in harmony, or not, Venus is bringing the sensitivity of the ooey gooey, soft and chewy, and yes, I feel very good here, or what the fuck? No, that's not acceptable going on. And you're going to be definitely acknowledging this right up until you have that new moon on the 26th in Capricorn, and it will be illuminated by that solar eclipse that same day. Okay, so right there it gives you your 7th and 8th house, because that's the most important things for what I'm being given. And this is all about taking action, not sitting back and allow yourself to get pushed around, but to truly realize your self-realization, the investments that you are putting into this relationship, and are they paying off? As Spirit just put it to me. Pay attention to the details of them and the proper communication. Slow down and hear the truths so that you can decide if these relationships are salvageable or healing, or are able to be healed. If there's a transformational healing that can take place in them. But this is, you cannot hold on to that grief, sorrow, shame, and blame. This is about taking passion, action, aggression, and standing up for yourself in this area. But get your intel correct first. Now, I'm sorry I went straight into that because that's where Spirit took me. For your first house, you don't have anything going on here. That just means there's nothing else swaying you and your energy. In your second house, this is where Cancer is. This is the North Node in Cancer as well. And it is going directly across from these relationships and not necessarily getting along with these relationships, which means, are these relationships jeopardizing or questioning your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem? Because if they are, then they are relationships that you should not be having. Okay? Because the people in your life should be supporting you into finding yourself, into your inner emotional security, and finding safety and security with who you are. And that means bringing that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem in. If they are not supporting that, then they should not be in your life, period. End of discussion. You have the full moon coming in Cancer for you with that North Node on the 12th, asking you, are you paying attention to what you need to change in your very self-awareness to bring to yourself independence, individuality, uniqueness, and inventive nature in order to help you create that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, to find ways of being liberated and comfortable in our emotional security with who and what you are. But are these relationships in your life and the responsibilities in the relationships, the rules within these relationships, do they support that? Because if they are not supporting that, then they aren't meant to be in your life. It's that simple. And if they can be supported by making the right adjustments. Then you pay attention to the threefold theory, the karma that's coming in, as well as if it's capable of being nurtured properly, or if you're just in delusional land by trying to nurture it properly, and if it's honestly neglecting. Plain and simple. You'll be acknowledging that prior in the full moon in Cancer of your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, and then as it comes all the way around to finish illuminating in Capricorn on the 26th on that solar eclipse. Now, as you come into that third house, you don't have anything going on in your third or fourth house. This is the communication itself with yourself, the outer world, your details, your intellect, your communication, your gossip, your cell phones, your text messages, your emails. But this is also how you communicate with your inner emotional security and home. Home is inner emotional security, whether it's home or it's home. Okay? It's the roots of who and what you are. It's the child that grew up to be who you are. It is the roots that made you that child that grew up to be who you are. But it's the true self that's underneath of it all. It's also speaks to you of the upbringing of who and what you are and what you will return to. This is the reincarnation and where the karmic lessons are created and made and met for inner emotional security, bringing you right back to self-worth, self-value, self-esteem by being confident and secure within yourself. Now, like I said, there's nothing here influencing it other than Virgo now has Regulus in it, which means every single thing about your inner emotional security is going to start asking you, is the heart of the lion there? Is the heart of the lion there? Spirit is giving me the skunk right now. And the skunk, for me, as guide, speaks to you of knowing when to spray and knowing when you don't have to waste your time. Put it this way, in the world of animals, most animals are afraid of the skunk. They're afraid of the skunk because they're afraid they're going to get sprayed. The skunk also knows this. But the skunk takes almost, I think, a week to build back up the spray, the formula from within inside of its body that makes that awful smell. The skunk is the only one that knows when it's sprayed and knows if it has anything to spray to protect itself. However, most of the world around it doesn't know this, so it's usually paranoid about making sure it doesn't make it mad, so it doesn't get sprayed. This is knowing when to use it and when not to, but by throwing off that air of, oh, I can, even if you can't. Confidence, believing in yourself, and when you believe in yourself, everyone else will. That is inner emotional security, as Spirit just wanted me to explain to you. Now, as you come into your fifth house, this is Libra. Libra is asking you to get right with your inner child and your inner creative expression. This is about getting right with the things that make you enjoy life. This could be romance, this could be dating, this could be your personal interests, this could be your hobbies. This could be dancing, art, music. What is it that makes you tick and makes you enjoy life, and are you taking time for it? Because with Ura here, this is asking you to have the sacrifice and commitment to yourself, to investing in those things. Because if you're investing in those things, you're also investing in yourself. You're investing in your own creative expression by getting in balance with yourself, which then is investing in your inner emotional security, your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. This is asking you to pay attention to your collective consciousness, your true depths of self, and what it is that you wish to experience and enjoy, and how and what you have to do that. And then step into that passion, that action, that aggression, and do that. And don't allow other people's, lives to push you around to keep you to where you're not taking time to invest in yourself. The sixth house at this time is asking you to take passion and action and aggression in what needs to be done. The sixth house is all about your daily tasks, your daily, everyday, mundane tasks. This is going to take you back to that whole idea of the relationship zone. Because in your everyday daily tasks, our daily routines, we have people, places, and things of energy that we consume. We breathe that energy. We breathe these people, these places, these things. Whether it's your service, it's your health, your diet, your hygiene, your ability to be healthy physically, like working out and stuff, or healthy enough to work. This is your daily routines, the people, the places, the things, the energies that are in them, also the friendships that are in them, the working environment that is in them. Are those mundane tasks healthy? Because if you are surrounded by people, places, and things that you are breathing in the toxic energy, then you're taking yourself further away from healthy relationships. This is asking you to put passion, action, aggression. Take action in that sixth house and the daily routines, and make sure that you are only focusing on that is healthy for you. And those energies that you are consuming that are not healthy, people, places, and things in these routines, it's time to change them. But also truly get your intel correct and listen and pay attention to what really is ticking in these routines, what the routines are about and why you do them, so that you understand how to get the relationships correct. Now, we're going to skip 7 and 8 because we already was there. When we go into the ninth house, this is Aquarius. This is your higher self. Your higher self is the water bearer. It already knows this stuff, but you may question it. Venus is going to move in on the 20th, right before that solar eclipse. Okay, right before that solar eclipse and that new moon, which means for those 6 days, you may not start noticing it until Venus moves in, because you don't have anything there to influence it until Venus moves in. But Venus is going to bring to your attention, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, your ethics, your morals, your spiritual urges, your truth, your higher-minded, higher education, higher soulfulness, your higher self's truth of your own intellect, your own truth, your own ethics, morals, psychic energy, intuition, gut feelings. And I would definitely tell you between the 20th and the 26th, pay attention, because Venus is going to tell you when you're going in the right direction, and she's going to be telling you when you're going in the wrong direction. And you don't want to get the slap down from the solar eclipse. You want to be ahead of the solar eclipse so that it's helping you move in a positive direction and continue to move you forward. Now, the 10th house is where you have Pisces and Neptune, which just went direct. This is your honor, your reputation, your prestige, your financial success, your social foundations of your outer world's responsibilities. Neptune is here, like I said, where fantasy smacks you in the face with harsh reality. It's kind of still. It's kind of in the void. So it's up to you to realize what you burn for. Your soul fire was given to you to burn for you and you alone. So in the honor and the reputation, how you're viewed on a social image, professionally, outside of yourself, is up to you. Are you allowing your true soul fire to burn, stating who and what you are? Are you standing in that power? Or are you allowing that reputation to just go willy-nilly wherever it goes? Lilith is asking you to make sure that you're getting that power straight. You're being able to bring I am magic and create into that honor, that reputation. Bring that financial success forward. But don't do it in such a way that you've tripped into ego and then turned around and gotten into trouble, toil, strife, injustice, and blame. This is about standing in your power and going, here's the line, and let me tell you why. But at the same time, putting out to the world what you are and why you are the way you are. and where that will take you, because this is your free will. And with the free will comes the responsibilities of what you bring to yourself. The 11th house is Chiron. This is where the wounded healer is speaking up about that trouble, toil, and strife of those relationships. And are you listening? Are you going to let them and the relationships support or neglect where you want your dreams, your ambitions to go? And how are they going to help you? Because it all depends on if you have the right people. And your 12th house is speaking to you of overcoming your own self-deceptions, your own hidden self, your own self-undoing of your karmic debts to yourself from the unconscious mind of telling yourself that you're not worthy, you're not strong enough, you don't believe in yourself. This is overcoming your skeletons in the closet, your grief, sorrow, shame, and blame. As long as you are overcoming your subconscious inner evils, your inner demons that are keeping you from believing in yourself, then you are strengthening that solar plexus and all three below it. Listen to your heart. It will lead you. I love you.